tonight we're going to be installing the wisefab front angle kit on my 370Z. So I'm going to show you right now what the factory angle looks like. It's not terrible, but definitely room for improvement. Hey guys, it's Ryan and Sterling with Salt Shore Sliders. We already installed the wisefab angle kit on the other side of the car, but now we're going to jump on this side, show you, on camera what we had to do in order to make it work. So we're going to start by disassembling the factory suspension and trying to take it out as one whole assembly.
We're going to take the coilover out now because the pull-on bolts hits the spring. I'm trying to take them out so it's just easier to take off the coilover. Alright, so wisefab doesn't give you a hub, so we're using the factory hub. I'm just going to zip it off real quick. I'm going to show them the trick of the trade. So instead of smashing the bearing off in the backside because it would hurt it, what you do is screw the bolt in, loosen it up and screw the bolt in a few threads. Take the hammer. And hit the head of the bolt. It loosens it up. Just like that. It doesn't damage the bearing. One thing we noticed when we took the bearing off and went to go put it on the wisefab knuckle, that this cap has a hole for the ABS sensor to slide through for the reading. But it lines up with the factory one, slides up and slides through there, but wisefab, centers it, and this one's offset. So what we're going to do is just pop this cap off so it will line up. We can easily just pop it off and turn it so it lines up, but we don't really need to run that. It's just like a dust cover. So I'm going to take that off. Just like that. So, and then just slide it on the new knuckle, and you don't have to worry about anything aligned. That's that. All right, one thing we noticed with the wisefab kit is when you go to bolt on the bearing to the knuckle, the factory hardware, show you, the bolt is too short. And for some reason, wisefab doesn't send you new hardware, so we're going to take matters into our own hands. Me and Ryan are going to try to grow our own bolt with dirt and Dunkin' Donuts coffee, because America runs on Dunkin', or I should say us New Englanders. So I'm going to stuff the bolt in the dirt and take my medium ice cream 1 sugar, and we're going to let, I'll make a little ice too. There we go. And we're going to sit that overnight and see what happens.
Holy shit, we gained ½ inch. If only it were that easy.
All right, now I just cleaned the corrosion off the factory hub, and I'm gonna slip it on here, but first I'm gonna put some anti-seize on there. I'll put this stuff on everything. Nice. This over. One thing I have to mention is when you go put off the new grown bolts that we made with Dunkin' Donuts coffee, there's a collar, a little lip on the hole of the knuckle you have to grind down. For some reason, the bolt won't slide all the way through. So I took a die grinder earlier and took off the little edge. And I don't know why that wisefab makes you do that, but so.
So wisefab calls this little piece the jig assembly. They recommend mounting this to the subframe before mounting it to the lower control arm. And it's the only way that it really can go, because if you do it the other way around, you won't have access to tighten down the bolt for this part of the jig. So we're going to mount this to the subframe right now. Closer to just show it. Alright, so this is what that jig looks like mounted to the subframe. The lower control arm is going to mount right to here, and when it comes out, you wouldn't have had access to tighten this bolt. So make sure you do this beforehand.
Alright, the next thing we're going to do is put the tie rod in. For some reason, the kit that we got didn't come with instructions. The only instructions that we got later on was very basic. But so the elbow boot, or I should say the tie rod boot, was too small to fit over this, so we had to just cut to size. So this would slide right in there and add for protection. But we're not too sure, you know, if other guys run these, but we're going to run it anyways. Put this on. So it fits nice and perfect over there. It'll just protect from dust getting in there. Now we're going to put thread lock on the bolt. wisefab does tell you to put thread lock. Also, there is a groove on the factory rack and on, as you can see right there where my finger is, and it lines right up. I'll show you. Actually, want to go this way. It's a tight fit, but it'll wiggle on there. Make sure that it's not 180 out and that the tie rod goes along with the lower control arm. because you can put it on the wrong way. So you don't really want to, when you tighten the nut, you don't want to twist the rack. So you want to, I took some pair of vice grips. There's no really way to put a wrench on the other side with a rag so it doesn't score it. So all I'm going to do is just hold pressure and tighten it up. That's it. Now it's all tight.
Alright, so now that we have the tie rod in, we moved on to the lower control arm. It is a very tight fit. You kind of need two people to do it, but you could do it without, you know, hammering it in. You might need a rubber mallet, but it's a really tight fit, so we just kind of slid it in there. So what we're going to do now is just line up the holes, toss the bolts in, tighten it up, and then move on to the upper control arms. Go from there. Alright, so we tightened up the bolts down here on the lower control arm. You reused the factory bolt for this mount right here, and you used a supplied bolt, nut, and washer from wisefab to do this part. Now we're moving on to the upper control arm. We literally just slide these right in here. You might have to adjust it just a little bit to get the bolts to line up, which we're going to try to do right now.
And you also use the factory hardware for the top bolts on the top control arm. For the tie rod, make sure you put these washers in, and it's slotted. We're going one way. See how they go in one way? Push that one up more. Now we're just going to tighten the bolts and then put the brakes on and the ABS sensor. And another note, because it's powder coated, they don't clean the thread, so I took a tap so the small bolt can go in. So make sure you do that before you just put the factory bolt in, and it will snap off because the threads are all powder coated.
Alright, so the angle kit for the most part is installed. We ran into a little issue with the tie rods, which we're going to try to fix right now. As you can see here, the tie rods are way too long. This part right here, the bolt's supposed to go through this, and yeah, it's just way too long, and the adjustment is already bottomed all the way out, so we can't twist this in any further. So, way too long. The paperwork that we do have says nothing about having to cut down the tie rods or anything. So I don't know if maybe they send them oversized and you cut them in yourself, but it's not stated on the directions, or either they sent the wrong ones that are just too long. But we already took our measurements, so right now we're going to basically get them ready, mark them out, and we're going to cut them down, and hopefully they work. We're going to start by taking off a 1.5 inches, see how that works. If we have to take more, we'll take more, but we're going to start with that number. So Sterling's got this side pretty much ready, has it marked out, so see how this goes.
That's it.
Fucking mint. Okay, well, we ran into another little problem that we're having to deal with right now. We cut the tie rods down, those seem to be working good now, but we can't achieve full lock right now because the positioning of the rack offset spacer is actually hitting the subframe before hitting full lock. So you can see in there we kind of marked it out. So Sterling's going to turn the wheel all the way, and you can see that it's hitting the subframe and not allowing you to hit full lock right now. So we're gonna take a little grinder and we're gonna try to grind it down some. Hopefully, won't cause any more problems. But we think this will solve everything. Alright guys, well, the notch worked out pretty good that Sterling did. Kind of show you what it looks like in there. Just makes it by, but perfect.
Yep, we're gonna throw the wheels on. We zip tied. It didn't come with any brackets to mount the hard brake line and the sensor, the wheel speed sensor, so we kind of had a, you know, makeshift with a zip tie for now. We're gonna make a custom bracket later, get some new lines so you don't have to have a hard steel line. We'll get a braided line, maybe one braided line and then another T to another braided line and make it nice and clean looking. But for now, we're gonna you know, adjust the toe and whatnot, put the wheels on. So.
Alright guys, so we got the car on the ground, wheels are on and everything, kind of eyeballed the toe. Basically this is what it's looking like right now. Sterling's going to cut the wheel and show you the angle. Yeah, wisefab is some pretty serious stuff, as you can see. Lots of angle. Yeah, the only issue we're kind of running into now is right now the wheels, when you turn them, they scrape along this backside of the fender just a little bit. So we might end up having to go with a smaller sidewall for the tire. Right now this is a 265 40/18, and as you can see, it rubs in here. So besides the wheels poking out, which I can kind of live with for now, probably going to end up running a wide body fender in the front just to help compensate for that. But yeah, I'm thinking if we drop the tire size to a 35 sidewall, I'll be able to clear without any problems. Alright guys, so I ended up having to purchase different wheels for the vehicle. I was unable to use the white Vordovan wheels that I had. They were a 10.5-inch wide rim, which is just really too wide for the front of this car with the wisefab. But luckily, I had a friend who has the same wheels, but they're a different color, and they're a 9.5-inch wide. So I was able to test fit those, and everything worked out good. Bought 2 new tires for the front. They're a 245/35/18, so it's a smaller sidewall, which is able to fit. The wheels still poke out a lot, but not nearly as much as they did with the other setup, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, current situation is I can turn the wheel all the way, doesn't hit anywhere, there's no rubbing whatsoever, which is basically what I was looking for. So I'll show you right now how much steering angle we actually get out of this wisefab kit. So hold on one second. As you can see, there's a lot of angle, which is the whole purpose of this kit. So I recommend to anybody with a 370Z or even a 350Z, if you're gonna go with wisefab, definitely stick with like a 9.5-inch wide rim would be like the absolute max. Ideally, I would like to go smaller, but I didn't really want to spend the cash right now to just buy brand new rims. So like I said, I was able to make a trade with a friend, but this is kind of like the max of what I I would recommend pushing pushing up in the front. It's just you know, this setup works, but there's better out there, so just be aware of that. But I'm happy, everything's installed, works perfect, so now it's just a matter of getting out to the track and just testing it out. So see you guys soon.